Hello, welcome to the world's greatest Bronze Age comic book podcast, Flea Market Fantasy. I'm your co-host, Mike L, and as always I'm joined by...
Michael Dell of the LCS Hockey Radio Show.
That's right, this week is a special one, Mike Dell. This one goes right back to my childhood. Can I tell everybody what we're reviewing?
It would be helpful, yes.
Sure. Fantastic Four number 312 by Steve Englehart and Keith Pollard.
And this is from 1988.
Yes.
And, Michael, we've done the Fantastic Four. We've done three-ish. This is the third issue of Fantastic Four now we've done.
Whoa, okay.
Plus, we also had Fantastic Four, I think, was in that Inhumans issue we did.
Probably, yeah.
Like that. And they were a backup story in that Captain Britain we did. So, they're getting up there.
Yeah.
In terms of most picks. Of course, you still have Batman and Superman way up ahead.
Of course.
So why are we going back to Fantastic Four, Mike? You told me you have a personal story about it.
Yes. So everyone out there knows that I have a lot of comic books, okay? But when I was, so going back to 2005-ish, I had a lot of comic books, but I did not have as many as I have now. And what I did was I was going through a phase, and I decided I wanted to declutter. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to sell a bunch of my comics, but before I do that, I'm going to read them all one more time, then get rid of them, right? But it had the reverse effect, okay? Because what ended up happening was I ended up reading, for example, certain comics that made me want to buy more comics, like Spider-Girl, right? I'd read an issue of Spider-Girl and decide that I had to get every issue of Spider-Girl. I'd read an issue of whatever, Kristoff, and realize I had to get every issue of Kristoff. However, this is the one that really set me off because this comic made me suddenly realize I loved Steve Englehart. And then because of that...
It's shocking to me.
Because of that, I had to go out and buy... Okay, are you listening, Mike Dell? Every single comic Steve Englehart ever wrote. Wow. And not only did I buy them all, I didn't read them until last year. No, I read some of them. But
spoiler alert here, Michael, but if I read this book in that same situation, I would have started burning every comic book I ever saw.
I'll get to that later. I'll just say that in 2005, I read this comic, and it made me want to buy every Steve Englehart comic, and I did. Okay?
Were you on prescription narcotics at the time? Were you having some problems at home? How could you read this and think, oh my God, this is good?
I can also say, here's the thing. I'm not going to say that whether I liked it or didn't, but I will say that I still like this era of Fantastic Four more than the John Byrne era, okay?
You just say John Byrne?
Yeah, John Byrne. Okay? But anyway, but to conclude my story, because of this comic, I literally went insane. I don't like using literally incorrectly, but I bought every Steve Englehart comic. Then I went, whoa.
I think it's pretty clear you did go literally insane if this inspired you.
And then I was like, well, I also like Steve Gerber, so I got to buy every Steve Gerber comic. I got to buy every Jerry Conway comic. I got to buy every
Oda comic.
Ben Oda, yeah, Frank Tremonti comic. I went crazy, and I upped my collection to about 10,000 comics before I woke up one day and realized I was, making a mistake. And then I started to sell them again. So yeah. So I'm back in that phase. I'm decluttering. I'm decompressing. Whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And so now to celebrate, I decided to reread this comic before I sell it.
I am shocked to hear that story.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's good. It inspired you to get more comics, so that's good.
But there was a 15-year mistake in the middle there.
But I can't understand how you're reading this was like, oh, this is awesome.
We'll get to that.
So, all right. Fantastic Four, issue 312. And you mentioned Steve Englehart is the writer. The artist here is Keith Pollard.
Yes.
And we'll talk about him here in a minute. The other big thing here is this isn't the traditional Fantastic Four team we're dealing with.
Yes. This is the Thing, Johnny Storm, or Human Torch, along with Crystal from the Inhumans and Ms. Marvel. And to be specific, this is, I think, the second Ms. Marvel, right?
There's a lot of Ms. Marvels in the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Ms. Marvels in the world. This Ms. Marvel we're dealing with here today, her name is Sharon Ventura. And her first appearance was in The Thing, issue 27, 1985. She was created by Mike Carlin and Ron Wilson. Did you ever read The Thing?
Yeah, a few issues. Yep, it's pretty good.
Because I guess at some point The Thing got involved with Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation.
That's right.
The UCWF.
I knew about that. Yep.
So Sharon Ventura was one of the... What was he doing there? Was he like just a promoter?
I don't know. I think he wrestled. I don't really remember those stories, but right. I've read a couple of those, Thing comics, and they were fine.
Yeah, so he got involved with them, but I guess this Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation, there's some shenanigans going on backstage, Michael.
Oh, okay.
Because some person named the Power Broker, who I had no idea this person existed until I started watching those Marvel shows. They always mentioned the Power Broker. The Captain America and
sure.
The Winter Soldier and Falcon and.
Okay, well, he was in that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, well, they kind of hint that Sharon Tate is the Power Broker.
Gotcha. Right, I remember that now. That? Okay.
So anyway, this Power Broker fella, he started giving these female wrestlers augmented strength. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess there was like promotional war between like WCW and WWE.
Ah.
And so they were competing, and that spawned a group of evil female wrestlers known as the Grapplers.
Interesting.
They're very good. I think one of their names is Pound Cake.
I think I remember Pound Cake.
Yeah, Pound Cake. Anyway. So Sharon Ventura and The Thing, I guess, helped bring down the Power Broker and these evil female wrestlers. And then she joined the Fantastic Four. But then right before this issue we're reading here today, she got mutated by cosmic radiation.
Yes.
Her cosmic and The Thing.
Rays. Yep.
So The Thing became like a pineapple thing.
Yep.
All spiky. And she turned into like a lady thing. People call her She Thing.
Right.
Right? Isn't that her nickname?
Yeah, nickname, She Thing.
Yeah, it's not her official name, but the fans call her She Thing. So then she later on, sacrificed, or The Thing sacrificed himself kind of to get her back to her human form somehow. Do you know that story?
I read it years ago. I don't remember what happened though.
I guess there's a way for one of them to get back to their human, so he gave it to her, and she turned back. So then she became obsessed with trying to find a way to get The Thing back to his human form to repay him. But in order to do that, Michael, she had to go work for Dr. Doom.
Ooh.
And he made her like a double agent. So she was spying on the FF for Doom.
Okay.
And then at the end, Doom eventually tricked her and turned her back into a monster.
So really? So she's so now she's a thing again.
Well, then I think she turned back to human somehow too along the way. But,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so she kind of looks like a thing. Orange, but she doesn't have like defined as such defined rocks.
Well,
she's kind of just like an orange blob.
Yeah, she looks more like the early Thing, right? From the 60s.
Yeah.
I think that's the idea.
Yeah. So, that's the Ms. Marvel we're dealing with. Now, how many Ms. Marvels are there, Michael? There's Carol Danvers.
There's Carol Danvers. I'm looking at it right now, actually. There is Sharon Ventura. There's Carla Sofin, who I never heard of until today.
Yeah, no, I know who that is.
And then there's Kamala Khan. So there's 4.
Yeah, the new one, the Ms. Marvel.
Right.
The girl with the can stretch.
Right.
And whatnot. Also, Michael, I should point out, this Ms. Marvel, her name's Sharon Ventura. Clearly that Ventura comes from Jesse the Body Ventura, right?
I would guess, yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be. Lady wrestler and all.
Yep, and she has really long legs. That's the one thing I noticed about her.
All right, calm down, Michael.
Whoa! All right.
But getting back to this Fantastic Four team, this is clearly the worst Fantastic Four team, right?
It's my favorite, but yeah, go ahead.
What?
No, it's not my favorite, but this is the era when I was getting into comics. This was the FF, so I have a special affection for it,
But it's just, visually, it's unappealing because you have these 2 orange rock creatures, and you have the fantastic Johnny Storm there, and you have Crystal. So kind of like it's unbalanced.
Well, okay, I agree with the 2 things, but what if you go back a couple issues and it was just 2 women and 2 guys? That's kind of cool, right? Having Crystal and Ms. Marvel. I think that's fun.
Yeah, that's fine. But having the 2 orange rock monsters and then it seems weird.
Yeah, I'll give you that, yeah.
And also, she has a terrible costume as well.
Yeah, I guess if anything, she should have got her own unique powers, right?
I don't know. Yeah, something to visually make her not as. I guess that's why they made him Spike Eat it, but it still doesn't work because it's just two orange monsters. But her outfit, it's like so stupid. It's like she has like a blue spandex kind of like wrestler outfit, I guess, but a big kind of like the McDonald's logo on her chest, but it's a white M instead of a golden arches.
Right.
White M. It's pretty awful.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah.
But you had to cover up her orange rock boobs.
That's true. You can't have naked boobs, even if they're rocks, right?
Nope. So, okay, so the original Human Torch, Johnny Storm, and you had Reed Richards, Sue Storm, and the Thing. That's the original Fantastic Four.
Right.
And then the next version of that was when Sue Storm got pregnant. She was going to have a baby. So they brought in Crystal to replace her. Right? As a fill-in. Now, the next incarnation was when the Thing stayed behind in Secret Wars because he was human. And remember, he wanted to have some time as his human self. So then She-Hulk replaced him in the Fantastic Four.
Right. But you're forgetting when Wyatt Wingfoot was a member.
Oh, I did completely forget that, and I think most people did. How long was he a member of the team?
Not long. Not long.
All right.
But wait a minute. Wasn't there also a time where Power Man was a member? I'm looking it up right now. I'm pretty sure there was a time.
Seems about right, but I don't know like when that fell in the continuity of things.
I'm looking it up right now. Crystal joined in FF81. Medusa joined in 132. Power Man, Luke Cage joined in FF168.
Okay, so who was? I guess Medusa. Crystal left, and Medusa took Crystal's spot. I'm guessing.
Okay. Medusa replaced Invisible Woman during a marital separation.
What? They were separated?
Yep.
Wait, I never knew that.
Yep.
So, did she catch him screwing around on the side? Because Reed Richards, he's a tomcat.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know.
I had no idea there's marital strife between the Richardses.
Oh, see, Luke Cage joined. Remember when Thing lost his powers and he had that suit?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that's when
Reed made him like a suit that looked exactly like the Thing, but he wasn't.
I think it was around there that Luke Cage joined.
But he looked like the Thing with a zipper. That's the only way you could tell him. All right, so Luke Cage came in, and then I guess Thing got his powers back, and he said, "All right, Luke, you can go home. I got this." But then She-Hulk came in there for a while, and then I guess Thing came back.
Right.
And then, so why did Sue and Reed leave in this time period?
Because they wanted to focus on their family, which is Franklin Richards, and that's it. Now, the reason behind the scenes is because Steve Englehart felt that it was more interesting to shake up the dynamic of the team and be a little bit more unpredictable, so that's why he did that. All
right. And they eventually would come back. And then for a while there, Johnny Storm was dead. Remember, he was dead? Johnny Storm?
Yeah, in the 2000s?
Yeah, but I think he was actually just in that negative zone or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yep.
But everyone thought he was dead. So they disbanded the Fantastic Four, Michael, and they created the Freedom Foundation, right?
No, Future Foundation.
Future Foundation.
Yeah.
The Future Foundation. And they wore the white and black outfits.
Right.
And then who came in then, Michael?
Spider-Man.
That's right, Spider-Man.
Ooh.
That's kind of full circle because Spider-Man getting kicked out of the not being allowed to join the Fantastic Four.
Right.
Started him on a superhero journey. And then he came back in.
And plus, Spider-Man needed, the attention. He needed the exposure, so it made sense to put him in there, right?
Yeah, because there's just not enough Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Got to have more Spider-Man. So then last week on the show, you informed me that there's also an incarnation of the Fantastic Four that featured the Hulk, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, and
Spider-Man. Yep.
That's terrible.
For 3 issues, that was it. Yeah.
But now, and then there was a time period there, Mike, where the Fantastic Four wasn't even being published, right?
There was a brief time, yes, because Marvel did not own the movie rights, and they were so pissed off they couldn't get the movie rights back that to get back at 20th Century Fox, they canceled FF, yes, to show them who's boss.
Yeah, because again, Marvel, hey, you're a comic book company, let's make some fucking comic books, for the kids. Mm-hmm. But now they're like, no, we're going to spite you. And,
yep. Right.
But then they brought him back.
Mm-hmm.
And how many terrible Fantastic Four movies have there been? At least 3, right?
3, 4. Well, because technically there's the Roger Corman one.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So then there's the one with Chris Evans as Human Torch. Then there's a sequel to that with
Jessica Alba as Invisible Lady.
And with Silver Surfer. And then there's Fanforstic, which is a piece of crap. Remember that?
What was it?
It's called Fantastic. It's called Fantastic Four, but in the logo or the font, they put the 4 as the O, I think, and so it reads as Fanforstic. It's really
I'll take your word for
stupid. Yeah.
I actually didn't mind that first the Fantastic Four with Alba and Evans and Michael Chiklis, right, is the thing.
Yeah, I mean, when I go back and rewatch them, they're fine. They're okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great, but it was perfectly entertaining. And I thought Evans was pretty good in there.
Yep.
And he was funny. But then the second one was Silver Surfer. That was terrible.
Pretty rough, yep.
Galactus was a cloud. Remember that?
That was terrible, yep.
And then I tried to watch this most recent one, Fantastic Four stick or whatever.
Garbage.
And I lasted about 15 minutes. This is fucking awful.
Yeah, it was horrible. Horrible.
So, yeah.
Yep.
But now they're back with Marvel now, right?
Yes. And it could be argued that Disney bought Fox mainly to get X-Men, but also to get Fantastic Four, and then also to get everything else. But those were the main reasons, I think.
So is there another movie in the works?
Oh, 100%, yes.
Any, leaked actors or anything?
No. They haven't gotten that far because they still have to get through phase 4 or 5 or whatever it is before they can start the next phase.
I've said this before on the show, and I'll keep saying it, but they have to do a Fantastic Four movie in the 50s. You have to set it in the 50s. Yeah, early 60s, but before the moon landing.
I agree with that. Yeah. They won't,
sci-fi.
But yeah,
it'll be good.
Well, it's just like Ant-Man. I mean, the Ant-Man movies are fine, but it screws everything up by not introducing Hank Pym first, but then introducing him as a 70-year-old Michael Douglas, right? Just screws everything up. Anyway.
Yeah, well, there's a lot screwed up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
This is
if you really want to get down to it.
Yeah.
But, all right, so there's your catch-up on the Fantastic Four and all the versions of the team. We've done Steve Englehart on the show many times.
Yes, but I want to make a quick addendum at the proper term. So Steve Englehart has a website. You can go to it. I think it's just steveenglehart.com, but he goes through every comic he ever wrote and gives a little backstory, right, to what was going on. Yeah,
well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
He's written hundreds and hundreds of thousands of books.
Yeah.
How many books has he read?
No, he doesn't go. He goes series by series. Put it that way.
Okay. Okay. I thought you were talking issue by issue.
No, series by series.
This guy's got a memory on him. All right.
But one of the things he talks about is basically partway through his run on FF. I think it was around 321. This would have been the time that Marvel got bought by new people, right? Because I think they went from being sort of privately owned to going public, then getting owned by New Line or whatever. But they...
By the way, Michael, let me just cut you here. Do you know when... I forgot to look up when Englehart started on Fantastic Four. How early into his run was this?
Well, it was 305, around there. Okay. So this is 312. Yeah. Okay. So partway through, they basically, in his words, Marvel decided to stop being innovative and just be safe, right? And just not take chances. And so there are people that see a change in the quality of Marvel Comics from around the time Jim Shooter left to when Tom DeFalco took over. Maybe it was a little bit later, a year or two later. But in his case, the storylines that he had planned were rejected, and they basically asked him to return Reed and Sue to the team and to make everything go back to normal. And so he took his name off the book and started calling it SFX Englehart, and then a few months later he changed his credit to John Harkness because it basically got worse and worse and worse, and so it's kind of like the Alan Smithy of comic books credits.
Is it Agatha Harkness, the old witch?
It's probably a play on that, yeah. But anyway, so John Harkness. At this point, though, he was happy. So.
Hey, I got news for you there, Steve Englehart. I would have made you bring back Sue and Reed as well.
Ooh, all right.
I mean, come on. Fantastic Four.
Whatever you say. You want things to be safe and stale. That's Mike Dell's MO.
Yes, that's my motto.
Uh-huh.
Safe and stale. All right, so Keith Pollard, he was born in 1950, originally from the Detroit area, Michael.
That's right. I've met him. He's really nice.
Ah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
He started out showing his stuff at conventions, and I guess he tells a story where he was critiqued separately by Jim Steranko and Neil Adams at a convention, and Steranko really bolstered him up, made him feel good, and then Neil Adams just tore him down.
Ooh, yikes. Okay.
But he's, that's how he started. And then he met a fellow Detroit artist named Arvil Jones.
Right. Nice guy.
You met this guy as well?
Many times. We were going to work together, but it didn't happen.
What?
But yeah. He was, I shouldn't really get into this, but at one point, he was going to put the Comic Book Syndicate on this TV station that he worked for.
Nice.
But it just didn't happen, yeah.
And then he saw it, and he's like, oh, well, no.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not doing that at all. But anyway, for those who don't know Arvil Jones, he was also a comic book creator and whatnot, and he co-created Misty Knight when he was working at Marvel. How about that?
Cool, very cool.
But so anyway, our buddy Keith Pollard got with Arvil Jones. There's two Detroit fellas coming up in the world, and Arvil Jones had a fanzine that he was publishing, so he got Pollard to contribute to the fanzine. And through working on that fanzine, they started making more and more connections. They eventually met some people at Marvel, and they both got hired at Marvel in 1974.
Very cool, very cool.
How about that?
Yep.
So Keith Pollard, when he started out, he was doing issues of Master of Kung Fu, Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. Are those two different things?
That's a good question. I never thought about that till now.
I'm just looking at it in the list. That sounds like two different. All right, Astonishing Tales and Black Goliath.
Oh, cool.
We did an issue of Black Goliath. He didn't draw the issue of Black Goliath, we did, right?
I don't think so. Oh, just so you know, Deadly Hands of Kung Fu is a magazine.
Oh, okay. I was going to say there's commas there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can't remember who did the Black Goliath issue we did, but I know it wasn't Keith Pollard, or we've already talked about him. I want to be doing this right now.
Right.
So, yeah, it wasn't Keith Pollard. He was also the regular penciler of The Amazing Spider-Man from issue 186 in November of 1978 through issue 205 in June of 1980.
Pretty cool. Yep.
Yeah, it gets even cooler here in a minute. But he has to be the first African-American artist to draw Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
At least Amazing Spider-Man.
I would say yes, definitely.
Yeah. And during that run, he and Marv Wolfman created the Black Cat.
Very cool. See, I didn't know that. Wow.
For a time, but get this, Michael. For a time in 1979, he was the regular penciler on Amazing Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and Thor.
I knew that. That's crazy.
I know, that's insane.
Yeah, I think only Jack Kirby could match that record, right?
Like if you're a regular penciler on just one of those books, that's spectacular. Mm-hmm. To do, even if you're on all three at some point in your career, that's unbelievable.
Right.
All three in the same time?
Right.
That's nuts.
Yep.
During that run with Thor, he did about 33 issues. And then on his first run on Fantastic Four, he did 13 issues. And then his second run included 16 issues from 310 to 328, and that's what we're reading here today.
Awesome.
And then in 1989-90, he did 11 of the first 14 issues of Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. In 1990, he also did a Silver Surfer graphic novel with Stan Lee.
Okay.
It's a nice little credit to have.
Yep.
I think it was called The Enslavers.
I think I've read that. Yeah, good stuff.
He was also at DC for a brief time in the early 1980s, and he and his buddy Marv Wolfman, they launched the Vigilante series.
Very cool. Vigilante, who's now featured in the show Peacemaker.
Really? Because I have no idea. What's the deal with this Vigilante? I never heard of him.
Well, he's, I would argue he's kind of like DC's version of the Punisher.
Oh, okay.
But he's dressed like someone who wants to go mountain skiing. You know, like he doesn't look very intimidating. He just looks like a guy in like a tracksuit. It's all black, but he has like goggles and not very intimidating, like I said.
Well, I was going to make fun of DC for ripping off the Punisher, but as we learned on this show, Marvel ripped off the Punisher, but they just blatantly stole it. Jerry Conway just blatantly stole it.
Yep.
So, anyway, Keith Pollard left comics in the 1990s when Marvel was struggling financially to start working in computers.
Really? See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he still, and you said you met him, I guess, at conventions, right? Because he still goes to conventions and he still likes talking about comics and whatnot. But
yes.
I think he went back and he did later stuff in the comics. But for that time in the 90s, he left.
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen him do anything lately, but yeah. Yeah, he's always at conventions in Michigan. He's super nice. Arvil Jones is really talkative, so we've interviewed him once, and yeah, he's really chatty. They're both great guys.
Wow, how about that? How about
Hello?
Michael? He's chatty, and you know him. Maybe book him on the show.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe.
You probably got in a Facebook fight with him at some point.
No, never.
All right.
The latest one, it was Fabian Naziese. Did I tell you I blocked him?
All right, I know that guy. Like when I was getting out of comics in the early 90s, he was wasn't he doing Deadpool and like X-Force and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was writing X-Men for like 5 years. Well, anyway, we got into an argument because he said that Boba Fett didn't have any personality. And so 10 comments later, I had to mute him. I didn't block him, I muted him just because it was getting ugly. So I thought, you know what? It's best just to leave it well enough alone and just mute him.
Yeah. We need to have like an update every week of your ongoing Facebook feuds.
Exactly. A little bit embarrassing. That's okay. He'll never listen to this.
You sure?
Well,
I think we're pretty popular, right? I mean, we're on all.
It is possible.
We have literally tens and tens of listeners.
Tens.
Yeah. You'll check in. All right. Well, let's get to this stupid book that we're doing.
Awesome book that made me buy 10,000. This is what's that expression? Is it Cleopatra? Is it she the woman that launched 1,000 boats or something?
The Helen of Troy.
Helen of Troy launched 1,000 boats. This comic launched 1,000 comic book purchases. Okay. Let's talk about this.
Look at this cover.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Ron Frenz and Joe Sinnott. So now the reason I probably bought this initially is because it featured X Factor, and at the time I was buying X Factor. So we see at the top here, World's Greatest Comic Magazine, Fantastic Four, the classic logo. The corner box is Ms. Marvel, the Thing in their new forms, Human Torch, and Crystal. Then we see at the top, under the logo, featuring Doctor Doom, we see a bunch of guys flying on these like sky cycle things towards our heroes. And down at on the left, it says Fall of the Mutants tie-in, which everyone remembers because it was really popular. And we see the Thing and the Human Torch teamed up with X Factor, Cyclops, Iceman, and Beast, and Marvel Girl as well. And Doctor Doom is with them, and Doctor Doom is shooting the guys on the sky cycles. And then down at the bottom, it says also in this issue, the Uncanny X Factor.
Yeah, this Fall of the Mutants. Where are we at here in X Factor? Because the Mutant Massacre is like X Factor issue 10 and something, 11, 12. So Fall of the Mutants was like the following year? Or is that
this is like, year. This is like, around number 25. 24, 25.
Because notice that there's no Angel here.
Yes, so this is probably... and they have the new costume. So this was right after Angel became Archangel, and like, he tried to kill them, then he became good again. So yeah, he's not in the team.
This may have been actually when he was... They didn't know he was Archangel yet. Because it Fall of the Mutants... I think doesn't he reveal himself at the end of Fall of the Mutants?
Well, no, because...
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, because he got the new... They got the new costumes at the end of that story. So this is definitely after
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the new costumes, they're each their own like color, but there's a big X
on
their chest.
I love
Cyclops
these
is
costumes.
blue.
Yep.
Beast is like brown and
yellow. Yeah, Cyclops is blue and white. Marvel Girl's red and yellow, and then Iceman's nothing.
This is also where Iceman was wearing that championship belt.
Yes,
he was the Intercontinental Champion for a while.
There you go.
That controlled his powers, right?
It reduced them. I think his powers were boosted by Loki or something, and he had to wear this belt for a while.
Is that what it was, I was thinking? Yeah, you probably know more than me, but I was thinking maybe it was that Scrambler guy from the. Did he fuck up his powers somehow one time? But probably not.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. All right, I'll go with you and Loki. All right. What else? I don't like this cover.
Really?
I just think it's pretty. Listen, this book has Doctor Doom in it.
Yeah.
And at some point in the book, they're actually, getting into it with Doctor Doom. So why not base the whole cover on them getting into it with Doctor Doom? That would make an awesome cover. Because here you have all your heroes there on the ground shooting up at these dorks on little cycles. They look terrible. They look like idiots. And like, I'm supposed to be scared of those guys? No, I'm not. And there's a lot of negative space here at the white sky. And not a fan of this.
I guess you could argue they could have picked a better image, but I think what's here is fine.
But what's here shouldn't be here.
Oh, okay.
You know
Start from take it from the top then.
Yeah. But anyway, so there you go. There's the cover. And then we open up. Oh, by the way, Mike, I also want to mention, because you got the Fantastic Four, the big title, but above it, it always says the world's greatest comic magazine.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I really got to start listening to the show.
No one else does. Anyway.
but that's pretty cool, though, because that's how long did that stay there? Is that still there today?
They probably got rid of it, but I think it was there for the whole first run, 300 or 400 issues. Yep, for sure.
Pretty good. All right, so then we get the big open up the book here, and we get a big splash page. Mm-hmm. Oh, I also want to point out, Mike. Well, maybe I'll talk about it later if I remember. But remind me to talk about the lettering.
Sure, by John Workman. Yes, very divisive, I guess. But anyway.
Yes.
So, yeah, we start out with the Thing and Ms. Marvel are reuniting with Johnny Storm and Crystal. And they have not seen the new Thing and the new Ms. Marvel yet, right? So they're trying to explain exactly what happened. And Ms. Marvel, I can tell you because I've read these issues, Ms. Marvel, she has some serious issues with herself and serious issues with men. She, as far as I remember, she refuses to be touched by a man or even helped by a man.
Because, Mike, what I learned was when I was reading about her research, every female superhero, she was raped.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah.
In their backstory, apparently. Yep.
Yeah. So and you can see here that she's kind of hysterical. Like, she's like, Ms. Marvel is the new freak on the block, and she's already crazy. Ha, ha, ha. So Crystal's trying to comfort her, but she's getting all upset. And then she's like, I'm cursed. My life's doomed to get worse and worse. And the Thing is like, that's what I've been thinking about my life, but I'm the boss. I can't say that. Right? So we got some melodrama here, but it's good stuff. I like it.
We should mention they're at the Wakandan Palace of the legendary Black Panther. So there's another strike against the cover, Michael. Black Panther's in this book, and he's not on the cover.
Yeah, but he was on the last issue, I think. So they can't have won every issue, right?
Well, if he's in the book, put him on the freaking cover. I'd buy the book if I saw Black Panther on it.
Okay.
You know?
So anyway, so they're like, oh yeah, where's T'Challa anyway, Ben? In the next room, kid, but I ain't had a chance to tell ya. So he brings them into the next room, and we see Dr. Doom sitting having a drink with the Black Panther with his mask off, right?
Yeah, they're doing some brandy. They got their legs crossed like gentlemen.
Yep.
And having a little discussion as monarchs.
Right, because Dr. Doom is trying to convince the Black Panther to help him take Latveria back, right?
Yeah, so his country, his homeland of Latveria, is that how you say it? Latveria?
I always used to say Laturvia, but it's Latveria.
Latveria. There was someone usurped his throne. I guess a young Dr. Doom, it looked like.
Yeah, it's one of those bullshit, like I think it's Dr. Doom's son or clone named Kristoff or some boy, and he thinks he's Dr. Doom or something.
Yeah, because he's got, like, we see him a little bit later here in the book. He's got, like, a Dr. Doom outfit, but he doesn't have a hood. But he still has, like, a metal body and a mask and everything, but no hood.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what John Byrne's up to. And Black Panther is seriously considering it, right? Which kind of shocks the FF, right? Because he's like, horse feathers, right? Because they can't believe he's
Johnny Storm says, horse feathers.
Right.
And while we're here, let's talk about the lettering. Because I think this panel, you can see it perfectly. Horse feathers is all in bold. All right, that's fine. It's horse feathers. But then, like this fella, what'd you say his name was? This letterer? I don't know, whatever.
John Workman.
But he bolds like every third word. He's bolding it. Kristoff's no better. He's the same. In fact, because he thinks he's Doom, but putting the real one back won't help anybody. It's like, come on, calm down, with the bolding.
Yeah.
It's okay to do it once or twice an issue, maybe, but fucking 5 times in a balloon? Good Lord.
Well, I think he did it for a while, and when he did it with, what's it called, Walt Simonson, it got even worse, I think. I just didn't like his lettering when he was with Walt Simonson.
And again, really, this isn't his fault. It's the editor's fault. Why isn't the editor saying, knock that shit off?
Well, maybe the editor likes it, right?
Poor decision.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
That's the most we've talked about lettering ever.
Yeah, true. No Ben Oda.
Ben Oda?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, back to the story.
Okay. So then, so Doctor Doom wants to tag along with the FF, right, back to America. And Black Panther's like, it's not for you to invite yourself, Doctor. Your former rank entitles you to the courtesy. So does my current rank. So basically, he does end up letting him come with them. Because Doctor Doom ends up being really polite, right? I just, it's one of my destinations, so may I accompany you? Yeah, sure, you can come with us, right?
Yeah, he's just hitchhiking.
Right.
Yeah, come on.
So then, by the way, I do really like this art, but we'll talk about that later. So then we see the Black Panther ship leaving Wakanda and flying around. We see like a shot from space, flying, and we see that they're tracked by a satellite that's being viewed by someone in Latveria who reports the information back to Kristoff, right? And this is where we see the Kristoff Doctor Doom, who looks like you said, looks like Doctor Doom, but a little bit different.
He doesn't have a hood.
Yeah, right.
Basically.
No cape. So then we cut over to this is the Wakandan Embassy in New York, in Manhattan, right? And
there's a big parade going on, Michael.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous, right?
Why?
Like there's a parade for X Factor.
Isn't that cool?
Now, again, I'm a little sketchy on where this falls into the timeline and all, but I don't remember X Factor being like when they started out, because the gimmick for X Factor was they worked for the government. Right?
Well, I think they pretended to.
Well, no, I think they actually did, but they were pretending to be hunting down mutants for the government.
Yes.
But in actuality, they were taking them and training them and taking care of them and stuff.
Yes.
But I think at this point, since they got their new outfits and everything, weren't they just hated as mutants?
Well, no, what it is because they saved New York from Apocalypse and his Four Horsemen.
I know they said that, but it seems like completely ridiculous that X Factor would be like, all right, let's get in a parade. Come on, Cyclops, Jean Grey. They'll sit in the back of a car and wave to the crowd. It just seems absurd.
I think it makes perfect sense.
All right.
Yeah. And plus, I was reading X Factor at the time, so this was exciting to see this,
You wanted to throw him a parade?
Yeah.
So you're all right with it?
Yep.
Just seems like out of character for Cyclops to sit in the back of a car waving at the crowd. Hey, everybody. Thanks.
Okay. What do you say?
All right.
So then they land on the Wakandan, the roof of the embassy, right?
Yep.
And then they're chatting it up, and then basically, and so then the Fantastic Four finds out what happened about X Factor, right? Because they didn't know what was going on, and then basically, I've read this 20 times. I don't remember what happens next. Oh yeah, so then they end up joining. They end up watching the parade.
Yeah, they want to watch the parade because Crystal says, "Hey, Miss Marvel, I know you just got turned into a rock monster, but this parade will cheer you up. Come on."
Yeah.
And but things, something people forget about the X Factor is they all started because of the Fantastic Four, basically. Because remember, they found Jean Grey's cocoon down under the water,
right?
And they brought up the cocoon. And so that led to X Factor starting. Because Johnny Storm says in his thought bubbles, he goes, yeah, but some of us know X Factor is the original X-Men.
Yes.
He says that quietly to himself.
Right.
He's,
so that was for new readers like me who was just getting into comics, right?
That's another thing here, Michael, because you get a little asterisk there, since FF 286 and X Factor #1.
Yeah.
And but there's a ton of those in this book.
Probably too much, yeah. I personally don't like them, but, I mean, endnotes would have been better, right?
Well, I don't mind one or two, one preferably per issue, to really explain something that could be confusing. But there's at least probably, I don't know, I didn't count them, but it's got to be 4 or 5 of them in here. It's a little much.
You could say that.
And
so yeah, basically, so again, this ties in right to the end of, I think it's FF, or X Factor 26. So we see the start of the parade, now this is continuing the parade, and everything looks normal, just like the end of the issue, but then all of a sudden, they get attacked. Right? By stormtroopers. Not the stormtroopers from Star Wars. These are different stormtroopers, right?
Yeah, dorks on air bikes.
Whoa! Did you make that up yourself?
Miguel, you telling me these guys are intimidating?
They don't look great. They look okay, but not great. So, yeah. So then they're shooting lasers at the FF and Black Panther and X Factor. So then they all team up together to fight back against them, right? And basically, they're there to attack Doctor Doom. They're like,
because they're sent there by Kristoff.
Right. They're calling him the imposter, the most dangerous man alive. He must be returned to Latveria. And we get some really cool little fight scenes here with everyone teaming up together, Cyclops shooting people, the Thing hitting people.
But notice, Michael, Dr. Doom is shooting the laser beams out of his hand, Yep. Keep a mental note of that for later.
Okay. And we noticed that the Beast and the She-Thing are not joining the battle. The Beast is not joining because every time he uses his strength, he becomes dumber. And She-Thing is not joining because... Why is she not joining? Oh, she's just a monster. Okay, she doesn't want to join.
Yeah, she's just sad.
Right, so then Thing...
So the Beast, when X-Factor started out again, he originally had his blue fur, but then that guy took the blue fur off him, reverted him to human, but it also made it so every time he used his strength, he got dumber.
Right, yep.
So they told him, hey, don't use your strength there, Hank McCoy, you're going to get really freaking dumb. So, all right, I can't fight. So he's running and hiding.
Right. So then, the fight continues. Ms. Marvel's into it. Iceman's into it. Crystal's into it, right? We got some really good art here. They basically defeat these guys on Sea-Doos, or whatever you want to call them, right? And again, I just read this last night, and then basically, don't remember what happened. And then basically, so they reconvene. And then Dr. Doom is like, I want to speak to X-Factor about the future. Whatever you think of me, I am the rightful monarch of a sovereign land, and you've seen the madness which grips the child who usurped me. I need allies to reclaim my birthright. And Cyclops is like, save your breath, Doom. Teaming up with you is the last thing we consider. And Dr. Doom is all offended. You dare, right? So then he shoots a laser something out of his hand, and he envelops the She-Thing and the Beast in like an Kirby Crackle energy thing, right?
Well, that would be cool if it was just the Kirby Crackle pink energy thing. But he also they depict it as like a fist and yellow energy grabbing them as well.
Yeah,
and that was pretty stupid. I don't like that.
You don't like that? How come?
No, that's just silly. But when he grabs him with that stuff, Crystal says, "I thought stripped of all weaponry, but his armor, he was defanged." But he was fighting those guys earlier, shooting his laser beams out of his hands.
Okay, true. Yeah, I don't know.
This book's a mess.
So anyway, so then he's like, well, I'm taking Thing and Crystal and the Beast, and then he says, you have 1 hour to avenge my honor, right? So then he smashes through the ground and then smashes through the layer below that. And just takes off. But then, they just follow him, right? Because there's a big hole. They see exactly where he went. So then
But again, he has he's using one hand to keep them tied up in the energy. But then he uses both hands to shoot a hole in the ground. So would they be freed from that energy thing he was holding them with? I
think you're thinking about it too much. But anyway.
I suppose.
So the whole group of superheroes, they all descend into like the sewers, and we see that there's like this the sewers, there's nothing there yet, but then we follow Dr. Doom to a secret hideout or a secret entrance to something. We don't know what it is yet. He goes into this hidden elevator and he ends up inside the FF headquarters, and we
he somehow engineered his own little secret passage into FF headquarters,
right? And we see all this like Kirby technology. It's really cool. I like it. Kind of lazy on the coloring there. Everything's blue.
The inking, I like the inking is distinctive in this panel. Like someone else almost inked it. Like a very thick line.
It's all Joe Sinnott, so I think it's all consistent.
But it seems like, I suppose it looks like that panel is very heavily inked.
Different? Oh, maybe.
The lines on the machinery and everything. But
yeah.
All right.
So then he's like, oh yeah, so he's secretly been, putting like devices into the FF headquarters, right? He's like, I caused a whole range of devices to be secreted in these walls. I monitored everything here until my overthrow, right? And then that was a subplot. Oh, I gotta tell you one thing about Steve Englehart, Mike Dell. Steve Englehart likes to lay down the subplots, okay? He likes to plant things ahead of time. He's good at that.
Oh, that's good writing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Jerry Conway does the same thing. But anyway. So then he locks up the Thing and the Beast, or Ms. Marvel, sorry, and the Beast inside a green energon cube. Kind of like a prison, right?
Yeah.
And then basically, She-Thing is all down and out. She's like crying. And the Beast is trying to convince her to help them break out. And he's like, well, I can't, because if I use my strength, I'll just become stupider. So he's like, do something! Right? And he's like, all right.
She says, I can't do anything. I'm a monster or something.
Right. So then he's like, all right, well, you know what? Iceman said the smart thing to do for me was do nothing. But what's smart for the world is if I do something. No, wait, you made your point. I'll do something. So then she smashes through the energon cube. And then she's like, I'll do something only a monster can do. But then just at that same time, something, what's his name? Dr. Doom turns around and he's like, hey, someone else is using my hidden elevator. We'll cut back to that later. So then they smash out of the energon cube. But then Dr. Doom shoots the Thing with like another, with his lasers, right?
Well, Ms. Marvel, She-Thing.
Yeah, She-Thing with his lasers. But then Beast jumps, and then he's just about to attack, but then he gets shot. So now Dr. Doom is fighting back, and Beast is like attacking, and you can see that he's like drooling at the mouth, so we assume he's getting stupider. But then just at that moment, the Fantastic Four and X-Factor come through the elevator, right? And then the fight begins anew.
Well, Beast is going nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like he's basically the Incredible Hulk at this point, and he's just smashing everything in the lab. And Dr. Doom's even like scared. He's like, He's gone mad.
Right.
So when everyone else runs in, their first priority is trying to calm down the Beast.
Right.
He's flipping out.
Right.
So this is at this final stage of the book, Miguel. I kind of think that they did this the Marvel way, where Pollard did the art, and then Englehart put in the dialogue, because the dialogue doesn't really match the art. I don't know. It just seems weird.
Could be. Yeah.
Because Cyclops tells Thing, or Thing calls to Ms. Marvel. He's like, stop him, Double M. And Cyclops says, she's not moving, Thing. And he says, I know. And then he jumps and tackles the Beast. And then he puts the Beast up like in a bear hug and ties him up to calm him down. And then they try to shoot Dr. Doom, and his armor's stopping Cyclops. And then they have a little chat, and Black Panther says, hey, we'll let you leave here, but that's it. We're done helping you.
Yeah, right.
Is that basically the deal? They just said, hey, yeah, all right, you're done. But what I wanted to get to here is this last page.
Sure.
Like, look at the art here. Like, Ms. Marvel is still very, very sad.
Yes.
And then the last panel, she still looks very sad. But they make it seem like she's happy now that she learned her lesson, and now she's going to be proud to be part of the Fantastic Four. And she's, like, screaming it.
Well, she could... I mean, we can see the lines coming out, so it kind of looks happy, but you'd think they changed the expression on her face, I guess? Is that what you mean?
It almost looks like it was a dramatic thing of her saying, I want to die, or something. But she's like, yes. Let's go, Fantastic Four. It just seems very strange. I don't know. It doesn't match up. But
you could say that. But that's the end.
Yeah, that's how it ends.
Yep.
She's just saying she learned her lesson. Now she's part of the Fantastic Four. Yay! But again, it looks like she's crying the whole time and screaming. But I didn't like this at all, Michael. I don't know if you could tell.
And
I thought this was a fucking train wreck.
I went out and bought every single Fantastic Four by Steve Englehart, every Captain America, every Avengers West Coast, every Green Lantern, Is that everything? What else?
And then years later, when you started reading them, what did you think?
To be fair, I read some of them years ago, but then I filled in the gaps before I reread them, and I've got mixed feelings. I'll leave it at that. Mixed feelings, okay?
This is, you mentioned you like the art. Yeah, the art here is fine. It's like completely solid professional comic book art.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like if I was, it's not something I'd say, I got to buy everything Keith Pollard drew because of this issue. But no, it's not that. But it's good. It's fine.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah.
If I drew this book, I'd be proud of drawing this book. I'd be like, yeah, I drew that.
Like when I was, 12 or 13, I obviously knew Kirby. I knew John Buscema, but not well. So when I read this, I didn't know the difference. I was like, oh my God, this art is incredible. As I got older, I realized he's kind of just aping John Buscema, right? And like Kirby. So
yeah, from what I read about his background and stuff, I read a couple things about him, and it seems like he grew up focusing more on storytelling,
right?
And So that's all, but his stuff wasn't dynamic. And they said when Marvel hired him and Arvel Jones, like Arvel had the more dynamic action scenes and stuff, but he was a little weak on storytelling, and Pollard was good storytelling, a little weak on the dynamic stuff.
Okay.
So they kind of complemented each other. But so I think you can kind of see that where the storytelling's great, but you'll get some good dynamic action shots, but it's not like super duper awesome Marvel stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I know that John Buscema's better, but I would rather see this art on Fantastic Four than almost anyone else, just because at least it looks like that classic FF style, you know?
Yeah, it's really solid. Nothing to be mad about. So.
Right.
Now the writing. That's where I had some issues.
Here's the thing, is I think that this is my new consensus, I guess you could say, or whatever, conclusion, is that I think Steve Englehart definitely puts a lot of effort into everything he does. So A for effort. He's good at plotting. He's good at characterization, but sometimes things come off. Let's put it this way. He is writing a superhero comic meant for kids, but he takes it very seriously. That doesn't mean it's great, but he takes it very seriously, I think.
Sure, he should.
Well, that's what I mean, though. But there's other people like Steve Gerber is a smarter, better writer, but he probably thinks the whole genre is a joke. That's the difference. You know what I mean? Whereas Steve Englehart, I think he takes the genre seriously.
All right, but I'm really concerned about what's on the page and how he considers. You know what I mean? Gerber's a better writer than Englehart.
Yeah, he's a better writer. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. But I like the idea of Doom asking for help from getting his country back, because technically, he was wrong, so you should try and help him out, even though he's a horrible person. So there's a nice moral dilemma there. So I like that, but I didn't really. Why was it clear to you why Doom was going into the Fantastic Four's basement?
You mean? No. You mean like where he could have gone anywhere?
Like he blew the hole in the street because he wanted to get to Fantastic Four's basement.
Right.
But then, like you said, there's just a hole there and they could just follow him.
Easily follow him, yeah.
That was really dumb.
That made no sense, yeah.
But like there had to be a reason. I'm guessing it had to be like he thought there was some technology there that he needed to take over, to fight back against Kristoff. But I don't know if that ever got spelled out for the reader.
He did say that he was specifically putting things in there, I think, right?
Well, I think he was saying he was monitoring the construction, the renovation.
Okay.
Like he had like microphones and cameras or whatever, and like so that he could monkey with it to put that little secret passage in there, I guess. But yeah, but they never spell out why he thought he wanted to get there exactly. It would have been nice if we had that explanation.
Yeah.
Also, how it makes the ending was just goofy. Like I said, the art didn't match up to the writing. But also, why isn't Miss Marvel the one that calms down Beast? Like they share that little moment in the cube together.
Yeah, that's a good point. Where
he like told her, "Oh, you know what? I learned from you, Beast. I'm no longer going to be a monster. I'm going to be a hero." And then she breaks out of the cage. Yet she's still crying afterward, and she's all upset about it. And then she does nothing to calm down the Beast. Like when they ask her to do something, she still just sits there and starts crying. She should be the one who has to step in and calm him down. Not physically, but like or grab him and like they make eye contact or something, and she calms him down.
Right.
And but yeah, I don't know. This wasn't very good.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, I would go even farther. This was terrible.
I wouldn't go that far. Definitely not that far.
I also don't think like the X Factor, their characterizations, I don't think were anywhere near
accurate.
Like Cyclops. Yes, like that's what the thing. Like when you have one of your favorite heroes in other books, and then some other writer writes them, they're always terrible, right?
Right.
Like they never. And that was definitely the sense I got from reading this. That Englehart has no concept of X Factor.
Yeah, that could be. I don't think he ever really wrote X-Men, ever.
He probably didn't want to have them in this issue, and they said, "Hey, we're doing a tie-in for Fall of the Mutants." So
could be, yeah.
You go.
Yeah, you're right. This story could have easily been done without them. That's for sure.
Yeah, because really, what do they do here?
True. Yeah.
Can you think? I guess. Well, Beast, I guess, was important because he helps Ms. Marvel come to the conclusion that she's not a monster. And at the same time, there's no payoff there because she's still crying at the end.
That's true. That's true.
But so I don't know. Yeah, this wasn't good.
So, can you understand why this launched 1,000 comic book purchases?
That's what I say. When you start telling that story, I was like, "What the? I am shocked at this." I cannot.
Trust me. When I was rereading all these comics recently, there was definitely a part of me that was like, "What in God's name was I thinking? How have I wasted the last 15 years of my life?"
Just keep that in mind, Michael, because 5 years from now, you're going to look back at this and like, what the fuck was I doing at Flea Market Fantasy?
Yeah.
What the hell?
That's true.
Now, was John Byrne before or after this?
Before. Definitely before.
Okay.
John Byrne was like 232 to like 292-ish, and Englehart started in 305-ish.
See, I never read any Fantastic Four.
Really?
I read maybe one or two books.
What the hell?
And that was it.
Oh.
So I'm not I read the X-Men Fantastic Four crossover. Remember they had that little miniseries?
Of course. Yep.
But I was an X-Men fella and not a Fantastic Four guy.
Well,
I have no concept of John Byrne's run. But I thought his run was longer than that, though. He was only on for like...
That's a long time. That's like...
Wait, I thought you said 292 to 305.
No, 232 to 292. So
okay, that makes a lot of sense there. All right, yeah.
That's 60 issues. That's huge.
Yeah, that is a long run. That's 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I misheard you because I'm old.
No, and then in between was just kind of like Roger Stern and John Buscema. It was rushed and it was a fill-in, but those were fun. They were okay. You know.
Yeah, I usually don't mind Roger Stern when I read.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan of this. Anything else you'd like to say about this, Mike?
Only that I think that, you know, for when I bought this when I was 11 or 12, it was perfect for then. You know, that was the intended audience, and that's why I liked it. As to why I liked it so much when I was, 30, I don't know. But now that I'm 45, I definitely don't like it as much. I'll say that.
Yeah, like, I love Doctor Doom, and I love Black Panther.
Yeah.
And, I am an X Factor fella, so for me to not like a book that has all those people in it, it's really hard to do. And I hated this book.
Mm-hmm.
But I did appreciate Keith Pollard's art, but I can't go more than a 3.
I'll give it a 6. Because it's a solid 80s Marvel comic.
But it's 88, so it's tail end of 80s Marvel comic.
Yeah, still.
Because Marvel's going downhill by this point.
Well, maybe. Some might say. Steve Englehart might say.
There you go.
Yep.
Fantastic Four 312.
Woo!
So next week, Micah, we have to get something better.
Oh, if you say so.
I think our buddy Tuffy is going to be here with us.
Okay.
So I had to pick something special for Tuffy.
Okay.
So we're going to go to 1986. Maybe the golden year in comic book, 1986. Yeah.
Okay. What do you got?
Because this is where it peaked and then downhill after. Kickers, Inc.
Whoa! Get out of town.
We're going to go to the new universe. Kickers, Inc. issue number 4.
Okay. Nice.
Now, I don't know anything about Kickers, Inc. except that supposedly it's about a bunch of football players who become private eyes.
Yes.
Sounds
good to me.
So I looked through the covers, and this cover features a football game.
Okay.
Like the story takes place in a football game. And I know our buddy Tuffy's a big Chicago Bears fan.
Really?
I'm like, here we go. Kickers, Inc. And Michael, you're a big fan of the Toronto Argonauts.
Not even close. Not a fan of any football team.
The Victoria Tiger Cats.
Who the hell are they?
I don't know. I think I just made that up.
Okay, yeah. Wow, this looks good.
All right, so Kickers, Inc., issue 4.
It's fun. I can't wait. I actually had this Kickers on my long list of books to eventually get to, so.
The only other new universe book I'm intrigued by is DP7.
Yeah, I want to do that one too. I think that's Mark Grunwald, right?
Is that basically considered the best of the books, DP7?
Yeah, it's also the most consistent because I think Mark Grunwald did like all 30 issues or whatever, so. Yeah, so anyway. Good choice.
Well, there's only 12 issues of Kickers, Inc. It's one of the ones that only lasted a year.
Maybe we should do the whole series.
Yeah. And do a podcast like
that. There you go. Kickers Quinology. All right.
Yes.
There you go. So that wraps up another episode of Flea Market Fantasy. Every week we read a different Bronze Age comic. 1 week I pick, 1 week Mike Dell picks. You can follow us on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and the Comic Book Syndicate website, all under Comic Book Syndicate, but you can also search for Flea Market Fantasy. So, until next Tuesday, disperse!